I'm going to go over a couple problems related to simple interest. Simple interest is the money that is earned on an investment. It is only earned on the principal, which is the original amount that's being invested. So this first problem, Marty invests in a $2,500 guaranteed investment certificate at 2.5% simple interest, paid annually with a term of 10 years. The question we're being asked in A is how much interest will accumulate over the term of Marty's investment. Interest is calculated by multiplying the principal with the interest rate expressed as a decimal, multiplied with time expressed in years. So in this problem, look, the principal amount is this. He's investing $2,500 at this interest rate, which is 2.5%, or it's 2.5 divided by 100. So to express this as a decimal, we would divide these and get 0.025 multiplied by 10 years. So if we fill these numbers into the formula and then multiply them, we should get that the interest that he earns is $625. So over the course of those 10 years, Marty will earn $625. In question B, what is the future value of his investment at maturity? Maturity is the end date of the investment. So at the end of the investment, how much will Marty have? Well, that is his principal amount plus his interest. Now, if you remember, the interest was the principal times the rate times time. Now, we already calculated that, so we really could simplify this to being the principal plus the interest earned. So the future value at maturity would be his principal amount that he invested, $2,500, plus his interest, which is $625. So his future value of this guaranteed investment certificate is $3,125. The second problem we'll look at is slightly different. Ingrid invested her summer earnings of $5,000 at 8% simple interest paid annually. She intends to use the money in a few years to take a holiday with a girlfriend. The question we're being asked here is how long will it take for the future value of the investment to grow to $8,000? Here we're actually not given the time. We're given the principal amount that's being invested. We're also given the interest rate, which is 8%, or as we express this as a decimal, it would be 0.08. And we're actually given the future value, which is $8,000. So the future value is $8,000. And we're asked, how long will it take to get to $8,000, this investment? So here we're looking for time. So using the future value formula, which we used in part B of question 1, we can fill in the information that we're given, which is the future value, $8,000, the principal, which is $5,000, and then this principal multiplied by the rate multiplied by the time is actually figuring out the interest that we earn. So it's the principal again and the interest rate multiplied by time, which is our unknown in this situation. So realistically, we're trying to find t, so we're going to have to isolate this and do some rearranging of this formula, which requires us to use reverse BEDMAS. So in order to isolate t, since the principal and rate here are being multiplied by the time, and then this principal is being added with this, to do reverse BEDMAS, we would first subtract this $5,000. Now really what this is doing for us in terms of the equation is helping us figure out how much interest she really has to earn. And it should make sense if she has $5,000 at the start and she needs to have $8,000 at the end, well, she has to make up $3,000 somewhere. So this is the interest. So her earning $3,000 interest will help us figure out the actual time it will take. So what I'll do here is take 5,000 and multiply it by the 8%, and this is going to equal 400. So 400 multiplied by the time will give us 3,000. So to isolate t, what we would do here is divide both sides by 400. And this would tell us that the time it would take is 7.5 years. Now, realistically, this is an annual investment, or the interest is calculated annually. So we can't leave it at 7.5. We're going to have to round this up. So time is really going to have to be 8 years. So she won't be able to get out of this investment until the 8 years, because it's paid at the end of every year. Now, in part B, we're being asked to calculate Ingrid's rate of return. Now, what this is, it's a ratio of money earned compared to the money she invests. Now, we really don't know how much money she has earned or the interest she's earned. So to figure that out, since we're going for 8 years, this investment says 7.5. 7.5 years only gives us $3,000. So to figure out how much interest she earns in that time, we'll use the interest formula again. So in 8 years, when she invests $5,000 at 0.08 or 8% for 8 years, the interest that she actually earns is $3,200. Now, to figure out the rate of return, which is really what we're trying to figure out on this problem, and I'll write this out. Again, it is the interest earned divided by the amount she invests, or the principal. So we know the interest is $3,200. And the amount that she originally invested was $5,000. Now, when you divide these, you would get 0.64. So the rate of return can be expressed as a decimal or a percent. Now, this would be the decimal expression. If we express this as a percent, what we would do is multiply this by 100, which would give us 64%. So her rate of return is 64%.